Hey guys, it's Rod with Civil Advantage Firearms Training. Today we're going to talk about the James Ranger Sling. Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about the James Ranger Sling. So what is a James Ranger Sling and how did it get a name like the James Ranger Sling? Okay, I'm going to do this video in a couple of parts. First thing is, James Ranger is the username of someone that's been a subscriber to the channel for a long time. And James had seen an older video that I did. It's one of the first 10 videos I've done. There's a lot of views only because it's been around for a long time. It was called A Note on Single Point Slings. And James was kind enough to look at the design of the tether that I created, and he said, well, I've got a far better system. Would you like me to make you one and send you one? And I said, is this a free proposition? And it was free, and so I accepted, of course. And so James made me this sling and even sent it to me and sent me pictures on even how to install it properly. So what a great guy. Totally appreciate it. I'm going to be talking about how great his sling is through the whole video. So again, James, if I didn't say thank you enough, thanks again. I really appreciate it. So what is this thing? First, I'm going to tell you how it sort of came about. Just so you don't have to go back and watch that old video, the note on single point slings video was a couple of things that I didn't like about single points. Single points are great for certain things. If you're going to be climbing any fences and doing any kind of crazy stuff, real operational stuff, I guess you could say, to some degree, you probably want a 3-point or something that's a little more stable. But for just us running gun, regular guys, a single point is sort of what you kind of want to use. I like 2-point as well, but I found that even though single points give you some advantages, it does have a few things that can annoy you, especially if you're kind of whiny like me when it comes to stuff like that. And let's talk about those real quick. So if you want to run a single point sling, you usually have to wear something that has a mandarin collar or wear a shemagh or wear something to protect your neck. So if I had a t-shirt on like this, I throw this vest on and I run a single point sling, it's going to be running across this side of my neck all day long. It's going to be just rubbed raw. It's going to be awful depending on how smooth that sling is. I didn't like that. What I did to combat that, just side note, I know the videos are full of side notes, it takes forever to explain anything, but I put a carabiner here in the molly webbing, and what I did was I ran the single point sling through here and now it's slung over here. It worked. It kept it off my neck if I was wearing a t-shirt, but the thing is, if you want to push the rifle away and get it under your weak-hand side arm to go for the secondary, if you do a transition drill, then now it's another loop for that sling to go through and it creates even more resistance, so it's not flowing across you quite nicely, and you kind of need that in a single point sling for it to flow across, depending on what you want to do with the rifle. So that didn't really work. So I saw somewhere that someone they had a tether and they hooked it on a D-ring or into the molly webbing on their actual vest, and I went, hey man, that's kind of a good idea. I'm going to try that. So I made a tether, had 2 hooks on it, one for the rifle, one for a D-ring. I had this cheap Chinese vest with a D-ring up here, so I clipped it on there and it worked really, really well. Now, one of the downsides to that was it distorted the vest, right? It dragged it down because it was on a D-ring, and those Chinese vests, though, you know what I mean, the ones with they're not plate carriers, they're pretty flimsy, right? So it's kind of dragging the vest around or whatever. The other problem that I found with single point slings, actually before I forget, was that I had a hard time getting the length right. You want a single point sling long enough that you can transition from one shoulder to the next from your strong side or your reaction side, or strong side to support side, depending on how you want to word that stuff, but from strong side to weak hand side. For me, I'm right-handed. My strong hand side is my right, my weak hand side is my left. So you want to be able to shoot left-handed and transition back and forth. Well, you need length in your sling to do that. But if the sling is too long, now every time you drop that rifle down, it's getting a little bit low and it's banging around your knees. So, you know, as I said, just to kind of a nitpicking kind of thing, I'd like something that would allow me to transition like that, but not be so low. And I found that the tether worked really well. The tether only needed to be this long I can bring the rifle up, I can transition back and forth. There's not a lot of extra strap or webbing that's flopping around, getting caught on my gear. And at the same time, when I push that rifle away, it actually naturally wants to go down here to my left. So if I'm right-handed, I'm going to clip this thing to the left-hand side of my vest. I push that rifle away, it naturally sits right here because this is just naturally where it goes because it's on the left-hand side of my body, and you can go for the secondary at that point. You don't have to worry about the rifle. Plus, there's not a whole lot of material there, and it's still nice and high, nice right under your arm, which is where it should be. So, kind of cool. All that being said, so James, back to James. Well, James made this for me, and he sent it to me, as I said earlier, with some pictures and everything. And what it is I've got the clip. I've got 2 layers of material, so I'll just show that to you, just like that. It goes up through the quick release mechanism in this plate carrier. And it comes down here, and it's designed specifically to go through all this webbing. I don't know if you guys can see that really well, but it was designed specifically to go through all this MOLLE webbing, and then there's a snap. So the 2 pieces of material come through the bottom here, and they snap right onto this webbing. In James's design, basically, instead of being clipped to a D-ring and dragging this vest down, distorting it and whatnot, it shares all that load all the way across the shoulder, and it works like a hot damn. So James, I haven't talked to you recently, but I've been running this thing for 2 months, so I think I've been out running and gunning about 4 times. You know, dragged all the gear out, put it all on, ran around with this thing, and it works awesome. I love it. So again, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. James never told me what he wanted me to call this sling, so I'm calling it the James Ranger Sling. That's his username, and that's what I'm calling it. So if you guys want to make something like this, I don't know if James makes them and sells them or what he does, but it's really awesome. So now you guys have seen it, you know what it looks like. If you want to try something like that, make it yourself. Clip it to a D-ring, that's fine. If you want to make something like James did to go through the webbing, that's great. If you want to reach out to him and maybe he'll make one and sell it to you, fine. But hopefully this helps, kind of an interesting thing. Anyways, if you have comments or experience with something similar, tethering a rifle to a vest or a plate carrier, or James has made you one and you want to brag about it, please share your knowledge and share your experience and your comments down in the comment section below. Hopefully this helps. Stay safe, and we will see you next time.